Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
We have an all-star, an extra. It's always an all-star lineup. Today is an extra all-star lineup. Matt Stoller is going to be here. Chris Hedges is on to talk about impeachment. We also have Kyle Kulinski, great friend of the show, to talk about 2020 as well. Brand new poll out this morning from New Hampshire with Bernie Sanders surging 14 points into a commanding lead in that state. So we're definitely going to talk about that, but let's start with the news on impeachment, Saagar, shall we?
Yes, the news on impeachment. It was riveting. The senators literally could not look away from the stage and were pivoting their opinions. Just kidding. It is a sad state of affairs in that Senate chamber. From what we're reading, we're hearing that, first of all, the Senate rules for some reason say that you can't drink coffee. You can only drink water and milk. So some of the senators have been drinking milk on the Senate floor in order to occupy that. Milk is very gross. I'm sure we're going to get some milk stands in the thing. But Rand Paul was seen bringing in a crossword puzzle.
Unacceptable, Rand. Senators
can't stay seated at their desk.
Here we go. Within the first hour, Senator Mark Warner of Virginia could be seen at his desk in the back row, leaning on his right arm with a hand covering his eyes. He stayed that way for around 20 minutes.
They're literally falling asleep. That's Mark Warner. He's a Senate Intelligence Chairman, a Senate Intelligence ranking Democrat.
Yeah, gang of eight.
He can't even stay awake, okay? This just shows you. I mean, if the guys who have to sit and watch this thing live, and then compared to the bore that this is on national television. I mean, I was talking with a few people yesterday, and I'm even saying, even people who are like pride themselves on being informed, they're like, I can't do it, man. It's just so boring.
Well, and also, I mean, the other part of this is just like freaking suck it up. I mean, this is your job, and you all created this whole circumstance.
Especially the Democrats.
Suck it up and watch and like pay attention and do your job. We all, Chris Hayes actually tweeted this. It's totally true. We're all subject to jury duty. You have to sit there and pay attention and like take our responsibility seriously. I was served on a grand jury in New York. It's actually pretty cool. But it's pathetic that they can't even, keep it together here for this testimony, and they expect the American people to pay attention.
Well, what's funny is when you do start paying attention, people are saying some pretty crazy things. I mean, Adam Schiff, gave, by the way, oh my God, it was nauseating to watch the reaction to this on Twitter. It was like Adam Schiff was giving his opening statement, and Jennifer Rubin was like, oh, this is the most, the best speech I've ever heard in my entire life. Jeffrey Toobin's called it the second best opening prosecutorial statement that he's ever heard. Still, I don't know what that one comes. There's CNN legal analysis for you. Yeah, I know. I was like, okay. But really, if you start to dig down into the policy, this is where I'm actually terrified, because Schiff actually said the words, we aid Ukraine so that we can fight Russia over there so we don't have to fight Russia over here. This is the exact rhetoric that people who advocate for endless war in Afghanistan and Iraq use. And now, I did not know we were in danger of a Russian invasion or of a Russian attack on the United States. This is very incendiary rhetoric. This is crazy.
Well, and this is why, anti-imperialists like Tulsi and Aaron Mate and myself on the left have been uncomfortable with the framing and fixation of this particular issue. No one is saying on the left that what the president did is okay, fine, above board, et cetera. But the whole framing of this is in a very national security friendly, aggressive, hawkish, neo-McCarthyist kind of a way. And so it makes us all uncomfortable. I mean, that's why Tulsi voted present.
Right, exactly.
Because she couldn't in good conscience go out and say, no, the president's fine, he's exonerated. She also couldn't go out and say, yes, I sanction this particular direction in terms of impeachment. It's also interesting, the New York Times interviewed a bunch of voters about how they're on the right, on the left, independents, et cetera, how they feel about impeachment. I was actually surprised in a way at some of the responses from Democrats. I mean, clearly, sentiment around impeachment is deeply divided. No minds are being changed. But when they asked Democrats how they felt about this, most of them, their concerns about the president weren't really about Ukraine. They were more about other issues. One actually said, I'm upset with the Democrats. They should have listed about 50 things. They should have just buried him. I think he's guilty of crimes against humanity with regard to immigrants. Now it's come out he planned 6 weeks ago to commit an assassination on a foreign national. To me, that's an international crime. In other words, this particular issue that Democrats seized upon, this may be the thing that they thought could stick, that fit with their own sort of biases and notions and elite fixations and didn't indict themselves in the process. But most Democrats, this is not the issue that concerns them the most about Trump. And that really came out in these comments.
It gets to what is Terry really talking about? Terry Scott, the guy who has that quote. What is he talking about here? He's talking about an election. He's talking about something which needs to be litigated through an election, about making an actual case. Do you hear that case being made by the House Democrats and the Senate Democrats? No, you're not, because it's not actually what these people care about. And I think broadly it is really... It just demonstrates how this is an elite boondoggle. I bet, it's sad to watch it because it's like a nation in managed decline, where impeachment is supposed to be a really big deal. I mean, when it happened in the 90s, even though, the details were tawdry and all of that, all the country kind of watched, bought in. People are tuning out now. They understand that this is just part of like American life. It's just another thing that has, followed for the Mueller report, then Mueller testimony, James Comey testimony. Here in D.C., losers were going to bars in order to drink specials and drink shots every time that James Comey talked. I mean, they bought in. They put their entire their identity into this, hoping that something would pan out. And in every single case, it's not.
Yeah, and I get it why people did. I mean, the coverage is so relentless, and there's such sentiment, justified sentiment around this president. I understand why there's been a fixation among some parts of the left on this, but it's not nearly the strongest case to make. And you're right, it is troubling to see the just sort of normalization of this process, that everyone's just, yawning and waving their hand at. They don't even care about what's going on, honestly. At the same time, a great friend of the show, we've been following this closely, Glenn Greenwald, being prosecuted by the Brazilian government, by the Bolsonaro administration, basically for the crime of journalism. Glenn is a fighter. Glenn doesn't back down. That's why we admire him so much here. But another friend of the show, Ken Klippenstein, did a piece on what's going on with Glenn. He reached out to every presidential campaign for comment, and pathetically, the only two who have said anything about this are Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard. And it just tells you everything about the lack of courage among most of this field, that when you have an American journalist who is being threatened by a foreign government with imprisonment, you can't even be bothered to issue a statement. It's pathetic.
These are the same people who will go out there and genuflect for Jim Acosta if Trump yells at him, but they don't have anything to say for Glenn Greenwald, who's an actual journalist doing, arguably is putting himself in danger by doing these things.
No doubt about it.
He got slapped live on the air. We covered that here. Because of his courage, and these people don't have anything to say. It's not that shocking.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, though. Really, just to watch the cowardice on this, and it exposes their hypocrisy, as you said, that they pretend to care so deeply here, but when an American journalist is threatened, they stay quiet. Wanted to remind you, we're very excited about our book that is coming out on February 8th. We're going to have a pre-order link for you possibly today.
Yes.
So we're hoping today, so check back with us later. Populist Guide to 2020 comes out February 8th. We're doing a book launch event in LA. Make sure to get your tickets for that with Jimmy Dore. That's going to be a lot of fun. You can find all those details at rising.substack.com, rising.substack.com. Also check our Twitter, because we're obviously relentlessly promoting
That's
it.
right.
Tweeting about
it's up at the top. It's the pinned tweets, people. That's all you need. All right.
All right, we're going to tell you what's on our radars. That's next.